Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you my 100th video for the Owen the Talkinator channel. Which is actually pretty good. It feels good to get to your 100th video because it shows you've come, I guess, a long way. Um, I started this channel, though, around August 2012-ish time. Oh, it was in 2012, but it's in August, so I've been doing this channel for 2 years. Um, and you're probably wondering why now you get into your 100th video. There's a very good reason for that. Uh, the main reason is, I guess, I had other priorities I had to do, so I had to take some hiatus off this channel. Sometimes I didn't really have a choice, so I had to take some hiatuses from this channel. Um, so that's the main reason why. Um, but I really enjoyed making videos for this channel. This is a channel where I talk about stuff about TV shows. I try to talk about real world stuff, but mainly it's been about TV shows, I guess, so far. Um, we'll see though what else happens. Movies, I've talked about movies, but that's like the main stuff, TVs and movies. Um, so then, I guess I can tell you about the stuff. So I started this in August 2012, and and what I did was I couldn't really. How I thought of the name, I guess you're wondering, is I was watching. I was just thinking, and I think I was watching Phineas and Ferb one day because it's kind of a good show. It's actually not that bad of a show. Um, and there was this guy named Doofenshmirtz that when he makes an invention, um, he always ends it with the word "inator." Um, so I figured Owen the Talkinator because I talk about a lot of stuff, and Owen the Talkinator just kind of fit for me, anyways. That, and it was just kind of a random name too. Um, I just heard a native, so I was like, oh, I'll go with Owen the Talkinator. So then I started making videos. I made, as you can see in this channel, I started just originally making SpongeBob reviews, and I figured it was fun. It's still fun to make the SpongeBob reviews. I still make those, but that's really all I would make. So I figured I think people are just gonna get tired of seeing just SpongeBob reviews, and I was getting tired of just making SpongeBob reviews, so I wanted to make other videos. So I started making other TV show reviews. I've made and movies and stuff. I made the Toy Story series reviews. I have almost all of them up. I'm just gonna make one more. Um, and then I've made I started making the Nightmare on Elm Street reviews. I've made two of them so far. I'm working on making the other stuff, and I started making Robot Combat League reviews, which is hosted by Chris Jericho. If you watched my Wrestling Fortune 44 channel, I've talked a lot about Chris Jericho before, but he was like the host, and the show would come on like Tuesday nights, and I would never really have time to make, I guess, reviews of the show because it would always come on at 10 o'clock at night, and I have to go to bed at like 10:30. It was like an hour show, so I always fell asleep early for that show. So I guess I couldn't really watch it. So I would have to record it, but then I never got around to watching the show, um, and it was just a big cluster, and I didn't really understand what was going on in the show. Maybe you'll get some stuff, more reviews of the show, but now it's not even on anymore. But we'll see. Maybe you'll get some more show reviews in the future. You can check out the videos though; they're not that bad. And I made my junior prom. Actually, you got to see what my junior prom was like on this channel. There's a little slideshow for it. I have my reaction to walking down the red carpet and stuff like that. And it was a lot of fun. And then, but then I started. I was around this time this year. I was taking hiatuses. All I made was SpongeBob reviews, but I wouldn't really make anything else. So then I started, and I was just not really appearing on the channel. I would be there one year. I would be there 1 second, then I was gone for a while. I would only make a video every month or so, not even, maybe every couple months. Um, So then I decided to start getting on a schedule. I wanted to see how it worked. Just get on a schedule, making videos, and work on a schedule. So I thought about it, and I was like, let's do it. So there's a channel about that on this. There's a video about that on this channel. It's called Video Schedule from Now On, and I started and every Monday. Originally, when I made the SpongeBob reviews, it was going to be every Monday, but I stopped doing that and made them anytime I wanted to. But now it's back to every Monday. I'm gonna go through the schedule. So every Monday you get a SpongeBob review on this channel. And if I ever miss like one of the reviews of SpongeBob, um, I usually make up for the week I missed and do it the next week. So last week I missed it, so this week I made up for it and did 2 SpongeBob reviews. And then every Tuesday you get a Walking Dead review. Originally it was just one, but I just really couldn't stand waiting the next week to see another one, so I do 3 every Tuesday now, and we're going to see how that works out. Mainly, too, I want to try to catch up to the new season, and if I just keep doing one a week, it's not going to work out the way it wants to. I might even intensify it even more. I'm thinking about doing that. And then every Wednesday, you get a Breaking Bad review. I know that show's over now, but I never really got to get into the show, so every Wednesday you get a Breaking Bad review, and you have got one pretty much every Wednesday. And then every Saturday, I originally wanted to try to make movie reviews, just any type of movie, comedy, horror, any type pretty much, horror, drama, all that stuff. And it hasn't really worked out because I usually end up doing stuff on Saturdays, and it doesn't really work out the way I wanted to, but I'm working on it. And I can't really, all the other days I'm busy making videos and doing other stuff, so Saturday's kind of like the only day I'm trying, but let's see how it works out. So that's kind of how that goes about. But now let's get to the topic of the 100th video. I always try to come up with a topic when I make some sort of special 100th video. And this topic is going to be my top 5 favorite TV shows today. Why I'm writing today is because if I write of all time, it's going to be kind of strange. So I want to do today. I haven't seen every TV show. These are the TV shows that I've watched that are my favorite today, I guess. Now, when I write today, I don't just mean the shows that are on today. I'm talking about just any show that I've watched. These are my favorite TV shows right now. And I might make another video about like this in the future. Now, the first time I made this, I screwed up. I accidentally put a TV show that isn't on the top 5, and yeah, it was just bad. But maybe I'll do a top 10 video. But right now, I just want to do a top 5. So what's gonna happen is I'm gonna go from 5 to 1. So I'm gonna name the TV show, give a little brief explanation, I guess, or a brief I guess a brief state. I'm just gonna tell you a little bit about the show, and then I'm going to name what I like about the show. So let's see how this works out. So number 5 is Breaking Bad. Now, like I said, I review Breaking Bad every Wednesday. So if you've seen you know, the reviews, you know what it's about pretty much, and if you've seen the show, you know what it's about. I'm pretty behind, actually. I'm only on season 2, episode 2. I literally started watching season 2 yesterday. The review's up on the channel too if you want to check it out, and all the other reviews are up on this channel. And I'm going to talk about this show. This show's about a guy named Walter, and his life pretty much sucks. It's pretty much an awful life. It's not like a life though, like it's completely bad, but his life, you look at it and you know that if you talk about how much your life sucks, look at his life. That's pretty much how I can give an explanation. He turned 50 years old. That's like the first episode, and he's a high school teacher, but he also has another part-time job at a car wash, and he actually ended up washing one of the cars for his students, and they made fun of him for it, which I felt bad. And it's his 50th birthday, and brother-in-law Hank's some sort of DA agent. I forget what it's called. You know what it's called. I think I've talked about it before. But he's like a police. He's like a, I guess, a detective kind of, but not really a detective. He's like some sort of policeman. I forget what it's called. I know what it is, but I can't say like the official title. But he works with the police. I guess I can say that. And he Walter ends up finding out that he has lung cancer, and he doesn't tell his wife Skylar, who's pregnant with his daughter. I think his his daughter's gonna be coming out pretty soon. She's going to give birth to him, and he has a son named Walter Jr. And he's pretty handicapped actually. Let me show you what the name of the handicapped sickness is, but I forget what it is. And he goes on like a ride along with Hank to see how they bust the meth heads, I guess they call them, when they cook the meth. And he sees one of them's escaped, and it's his old student, one of his old students, Jesse Pinkman, and he wants to work together with him, and they agree. And it doesn't go, and they rent an RV, and it doesn't go that well. The main reason Walter wants to do this too is because he wants to, I guess, give his family money before he dies, because obviously he has cancer. So, and he also wants to give his family and he also wants to pay for, I guess, his treatment. I guess. And at this point, his family doesn't know that he has cancer. He hasn't told them yet. And they run into these guys named Emilio and Crazy 8, and they kill Emilio with this chemical poison, and then Walter has to kill Walter, and Jesse had to flip a coin, and whoever had gotten it had to kill Crazy 8. And Walter doesn't want to do it, so at first he's going to release him, but he was making him sandwiches, and he tripped and broke a plate, and Crazy 8 took part of the plate, and he was going to stab him with it when he released him, so Walter was left with no choice but to kill him. So then he finally tells his wife he has cancer, and she wants him to go through treatment, but he doesn't want to, because he doesn't want to be remembered as a bald guy that always needs help, and he really doesn't want to pay for the treatment either, because it costs a lot of money. He doesn't want to put his family in debt. So then he had a friend in college named Elliot, and he's like, I don't want to do this or something. No, he offers to pay for his treatment, but Walter doesn't want him to. And then eventually Walter goes through with it. He finally does the treatment, and he had stopped cooking meth with Jesse because he had saw the killing and stuff he has to do, so he backs off. And he went back to doing it with him because of a pride. He wants to support his family, he wants to pay for the treatment, and he does so. And then eventually they not getting enough money that they need, so they have this drug dealer Tuco take the money, and at first it doesn't go as well. Tuco beats the crap out of Jesse, but then it goes according to plan, and Walter hands him the money. Walter and Tuco work out a deal, and he's gonna pay him money, but then and then also we find out that Marie, Hank's wife, is a thief. She's a shoplifter, and we find that out because Skylar had a baby shower, and Marie got Skylar a tiara, and when she went to return it, she found it had been stolen and almost got arrested. And then she keeps denying it. She doesn't even really apologize. She just completely denies that she's done this, and won't even admit it. And we find out that it's true. Hank knows all about this, and she's going to therapy with a guy named Dave, and it's just a big thin, and that was kind of the end of season 1. Tuco had killed one of his henchmen, his people, and then they get worried that because Tuco then says you're done, and they get worried that Walter and Jesse get worried that Tuco's gonna kill them, and at this point Walter's kind of barely talking to his wife. He's out all the time, so, and then eventually Tuco kidnaps him, and that was kind of that. That's how far I am so far. And Jess and Skylar and Marie aren't really talking, and it's actually pretty. And the show is actually awesome. All I like about it is I'm actually pretty hooked into it. Once you watch it, you can't stop watching it. And I like Jesse. We actually have met his parents too, and his brother, and we found out his brother smokes weed as well, because that's why Jesse got thrown out, and I guess he didn't rat on him, which was awesome, and I thought that was good, and I like that we get to see the struggle of Walter, how he's changed, because you can tell he's changed, and he has a kind of unique personality. Someone was making fun of his son because of his handicap issues, and he beat the crap out of this guy. He's pretty much told his boss from the car wash, fuck you, hate you. That was awesome. And then Walter has taken someone was just an absolute asshole, and he took his car and took like the windshield, when you wash the windshield, he took one of those because they were at like a gas station, and he makes it explode. He just has a unique personality. I like it. And then yeah, I just think it's awesome. And that's what I like. So that's that show. I've given more of an explanation in the reviews, so you guys can check that out. So that's like number 5. That's my fifth. From 1 to 5, it's my 5th favorite show right now. Number 4 is The Walking Dead. Now you're gonna see why it's not number 4, but it really is a good show. I like this show. It's about the name. The name speaks for itself. It's the apocalypse. It's the end of the world. Zombies are, I guess, taking over. And it isn't just about the zombies though. They want to kill these zombies to try to, I guess, get their world back, but it's kind of hopeless. People try to find like a way out of it, but it's hopeless. There's walkers everywhere. And then we find out before that had happened though, the main character Rick Grimes had gotten shot. There was these 2 burglars, and they shot him, so he was in the hospital for a while. And his partner / best friend Shane, I don't really know his last name. I think it's Walsh. No, that's not Walsh. That's Walter's last name from Breaking Bad. But his partner Shane ends up comforting him, I guess. And Rick wakes up and sees what's happened. Sees all the dead bodies. Sees all the walkers. What's been going on. And there was this guy named Dwayne, and trying to remember the Morgan, and they told him what's going on. That if you get bit or scratched, you become a walker, and you don't want to be bit, and you get like a fever and stuff. So then Walt and Rick's family isn't around anyway. He went to his house. They went there. Lori and Carl. He has a wife named Lori and a son named Carl. And he goes out to find them, and he meets up with he goes to the city and runs into these bunch of walkers, and there was this guy that saved him. His name's Glenn, and I think he meant Andrea, T-Dog, Myrtle, who he handcuffed onto the roof because he was like a danger to them, and they left him there because T-Dog dropped the key and couldn't save him, but he locked the door so so the walkers couldn't get in. Who else was there though? We have T-Dog, Andrea, which I hate Andrea, Rick. I think that's all we met. But we probably Jacqueline. I think that's T-Dog's wife. There's more people though, and then we found out that there's this camp, and there's this old guy Dale who has an RV, and Shane, Rick's best friend, has been sleeping, or has had a relationship with Lori, and he's like a father figure to them, and he thinks that I guess she thinks that his Rick's dead, but we know that's not the case, and she thinks that because when the Walker stuff was going on, we find this out in season 1. Shane was trying to get Rick out of there, but he took his oxygen off, and he checked to see if he was breathing, but he wasn't. And then when Rick comes back, Lori sees this, and they kind of, I guess, make up because they weren't really in a good relationship before this situation, which I actually kind of think for them, because it really is it is a negative situation, but for them it's a positive because they weren't in a good relationship before. Now they are, so I think that's awesome. And then Lori gets mad at Shane because she had told him, because he told her, that Rick died, so she thinks that it's all a big lie. And then eventually what happened is we meet Dale, and he has the crossbow, and finds out his brother Murder was left on the roof, so they go find him. And then when they come back, we see that Shane, we see that the place has been invaded by walkers, and Rick saves them, sort of. Shane kind of did most of it, I guess. And a bunch of people die. We find out Eddie, who was the wife of Carol, who abused Carol, and he had a daughter, Sophia, and Amy, Andrea's sister, and among others. It was mainly filler characters that got killed. And then what else happens? So then they bury the bodies, and then they leave to go to the CDC to find a cure. And they run into this guy, the Dr. Eddie. I forget his name. Dr. Edwin, I think his name was. And he explains how this all happens. And then the building's gonna blow up. So originally Edwin wants to keep him there just so he doesn't have to deal with the situation anymore, but they want to leave. Some of them stay. Andrea originally wants to stay, but then Dale, who I never find out how she's related to her, because I don't think it's her father, because she would call him dad. I think it's like her uncle or something. I never find out how Dale's related to Andrea. Dale talks her out of it. And before Rick and stuff left, Dale whispered something to Rick's ear, and we don't find out what it is for a while until the end of season 2. And then it ends with the CDC blowing up, and that's kind of how the whole that's how season 1 ended. And I should mention too that Shane kind of becomes a little bit of a villain, because Rick and Shane were looking in the woods for somebody or something. They were in the woods, and Shane was gonna shoot Rick, but he got caught by Dale, which was awesome. I think I talked about that. And then at the beginning of season 2, they're all gonna leave to go to Fort Bennett, and Rick keeps trying to get in contact with Morgan because he had a radio with him. I don't even think we're ever gonna see Morgan again. Thought we were, but I guess not. And they're gonna go to Fort Bennett, but they get like a little stoppage on the way because they got into the highway, and they were getting a bunch of stuff, and then a bunch of walkers come up, and this girl Sophia was hiding, and they were all hiding, but then this girl Sophia, the walkers see her because they thought the coast was clear, so she gets out, and so the walkers chase Sophia. So then Rick goes to save her, takes out the walkers with a rock, and he told her to stay underneath the. He told her to hide somewhere. It was like in the loggage place. It was like a tree, I think, that fell down. And she didn't listen. She had told him that if he didn't make it back, to go back to the group, but she didn't listen. So then they all start searching for her. And everybody searches. And then what happens is when Rick, Shane, and Carl alone, so and Shane kind of becomes more villainous to Carl too. He starts blowing him off because Lloyd told him to stay away from them, and Shane actually became more of a villain because when they were in the CDC, he had tried to rape Lloyd, but it didn't, but to no avail. And then what happens though is Carl sees a deer and he gets shot because there was a hunter that went to shoot the deer, but it gets Carl. So then they have to do surgery to him, but they have to get the certain supplies because if they do it while he's awake, if he moves a little, they'll stab him. Because then they go to this farm with Herschel, who's a vet, but I guess can do doctor stuff too. And they meet Maggie, Patricia, Beth, and Jim. What happens is Maggie and Glenn have like a relationship throughout the season too, and it was just a horrendous. One second they would be in a relationship, the next they wouldn't be. They've even had sex before, then they didn't. It was just that was like one of the negatives I didn't like about season 2. I don't know how you justify that. So then when Shane and Otis they had to go into town to get the supplies, they get a bunch of walkers see them, so they have to run away from them. And then what happens is Shane, they didn't have many bullets left, and Shane throws Otis to the wolves, I guess. He shoots him in the leg, and then the walkers eat him. So Shane kills Otis, and he starts becoming more villainous. Shane, he's more of a serial killer now. He's going left and right. He becomes more of a villain, and he was planning on leaving the group too. He was gonna leave the group. He was sick and tired of this group, and he was gonna keep it quiet. But then Andrea wanted to go with him because she hates Dale because she took her choice way that she wanted to die in there. And then they fix up Carl. He's all fine now. And afterwards, Herschel wants Rick to leave. He wants all his group to leave, considering the fact when Carl's all better, but they don't want to leave because of what the world's like out there, because of all these walkers that are out there. And Herschel, I guess, considers it. And then Glenn goes into the barn because he was going to have sex with Maggie, and he finds out that there's a bunch of walkers in the barn. And they're keeping him there because Herschel believes that there's a cure. And then Glenn tells Shane about it. Well, tells the group about it, and Shane doesn't like that. Shane becomes like I start to hate Shane too. And Shane becomes more villainous. He starts getting into it with Dale. Him and Dale start fighting. And because Dale's on to him, he knows what's going on. And he gets into a relationship with Andrea. And I don't really think it lasted that long. And then what happens is Shane opens the bone and kills all the walkers, and throughout this season, there was this big search for Sophia. Dale was looking for her. He did everything he could to find her, and he almost died for her. And we find out that what happens is Sophia had gotten bit, and she was in the bone. So then Rick kills her, and it was kind of a depressing scene. And then we find out too that Lori's pregnant. That's the main reason they also want to stay, because they don't want the child to give birth in the real world. And Lori finally tells Rick that that she had a relationship with Shane, but Rick already figured it out. Because I guess he figured it out pretty quickly. I don't know how he did, but he did. And then what else happens? So then Herschel finds out that there is no cure, there is no hope. So then he used to be a big drinker, so he kind of starts doing that again. And he's at the bar, so Rick and Glenn go to find him because they needed him because Beth was kind of becoming suicidal. And Maggie told Glenn that she loves him, but he didn't respond. And then what happens is they meet up her, so he agrees to go back with them. But then they meet these guys named Jim and Dave, and he wants to go back with them to go to the farm, but Rick kills them. So then the group comes down and they get into like a gun war, and they leave. And one of the guys, Randall, this was an awesome scene. This was like an epic fail. He tries to jump over to the next building and he epically fails. So then what happens is his leg gets caught into a fence, so then they have to rip his leg off. And they're worried that them men will come back for him and it'll be like this big war. So what happens is they were originally going to let him go. Rick was originally going to let him go and be on his own, but he knows how to get to the farm. And what happens too is Rick and Shane start getting into it in the episode 18 Miles Out. And what happens is they get into this big fist fight, and Rick tells Shane that if you want to be in this group, you have to start carrying your weight and stuff, because Shane doesn't think he can take care of his Rick can take care of his family. Shane believes that the child is his, because in season 1 episode 2 Rick was going to Shane and Lori had sex, so yeah, I guess that's why he believes it. And he also says that he wants to be the he wants to be the one, I guess, to protect Lori and Carl. And Rick says, if you want to come back, you're welcome to. And then they figured out what they want to do with Randall. At first they were going to kill him, but then Carl, he actually kind of starts to change, and he becomes more sick and twisted because he's a kid, and it's really not right. And obviously a kid's going to change when he grows in here. They were going to kill Randall, but then Carl followed them and he encouraged him to do it. So then Rick doesn't do it because he obviously doesn't want to kill a Randall in front of his son. And Dale, who didn't want this to happen, he ends up getting his chest gets ripped open by a zombie that Carl had gone out in the woods for, and he feels like it's his fault because he went out in the woods for this walker. I don't know why he did, but he did. And what happens is then Shane he puts Randall in the woods and kills him. And it was all to lure Rick in there so he could kill Rick. And what happens is when Daryl and Glenn find Randall, he ends up becoming a walker, but he doesn't have any bites or scratches on him. So we're gonna find out what happens with that. And then Shane's about to kill Rick, but then Rick had to kill Shane. He didn't have a choice. And then Carl sees it, and he aims the gun like he's gonna shoot Rick, but then Shane turns into a walker, which was another weird thing, and he shoots him. And then what happens is the farm gets overraided by zombies, so then they have to leave. And then Rick finally, and they're gonna admits what happened, that what Edwin told him in the hospital, that now they're infected. So now if you die, you become a walker yourself, which I think is awesome. Well, like an awesome scene. It was like a big moment, which I think was awesome. And Rick becomes more aggressive. Not like Shane aggressive, like he's not a villainous like Shane, but he's saying he tells everyone that he killed Shane in the protection of this group, and if you want to leave, then go ahead. And Andrea actually gets separated from the group, and she was about to get killed by walkers, and then this person in a hood, and he had 2 walkers with no hands change for him for some odd reason, saves her, which I was pissed about. And then what happens, the season 2 ends when they go into the distance, and we see that they buy a prison, which I missed because I was texting on my phone and I thought the season was over. And that's like what I know so far about The Walking Dead. So yeah, I know that's like a lot to take in, but that's all that I have to say there. What I like about the show is the gore. It's very gory. I also like the storylines. I like what was going on with Rick and Shane, and I just like the show. It's just an awesome show. I've explained throughout why I've liked the show, so I don't really think I need to. Well, I guess I liked the storylines, and I liked we get to see what they're like in this situation, and now we know what happens when you die, so it's gonna really add a lot to the show. So I can't wait to see what happens more with this show. So that's my fourth favorite show, is The Walking Dead. My third is Family Guy. Um, I mean, it's not really, if you everyone at least 11. I wouldn't really say 11, maybe 12 and up should know what this show is. And this is actually a really funny show. It's a comedy show, so this one's a different show than what different shows than what I've been watching. Breaking Bad has some comedy in it, but not as much as Family Guy. Not even close. And what happens is it's about, I guess, this family named. And there really is kind of no storyline, but there's some. It's about this family that lives in Quahog, Rhode Island, and I guess the main character. There's a lot of main characters, but the main characters you could say are the Griffins: Peter, Lewis, Chris, Meg, Brian, and Stewie. Um, and it's about them really. There's a bunch of storylines going on though. Like Peter's like this big idiot that is really funny. He does a lot of comedy stuff, and Chris is like kind of dumb, and he masturbates. And Meg, nobody likes Meg. I don't like Meg really either. Everybody hates Meg. That's like the big storyline. Everyone picks on Meg, and not even like Peter likes her really either. No one really likes Meg. And she's like kind of psychotic. A little when she likes someone, she sticks to this person. And Stewie's this baby. He's been a baby forever. This show started in 1999, and he's still a baby. And he's like, he can talk, but no one really knows what he's saying. Only Brian can understand him. But sometimes there are times when like Peter can, which is really strange. And he is like a villain kind of, but he's not like too much of a villain. He has like a weapons box. And he has a time machine. He's like a genius. He's an evil genius. And Brian's a dog. And he acts like a dog, but he acts like a human. He has himself, but he has some dog traits. He still chases the squirrels. He's still he's still when you tell him to go away and stuff, he still goes away. When you tell him to sit, he sits. So he has some human traits, but he has some dog traits as well. Lois is just Peter's wife. There's some funny stuff about her. But Peter's just funny. He's a big comedy guy. And he has some friends. We really only see Peter's friends. He has Quagmire, who always has sex with girls. And he's kind of like a pedophile kind of, but not really. He has some stuff that he likes about him. He has a friend named Joe who's handicapped, and he's a police officer, which is funny actually that he's like a handicapped police officer. And he has a friend named Cleveland who's black. And really kind of nothing really to say about Cleveland because he really doesn't play as big of a role. He's one of Peter's friends, and he goes on. He leaves the show for a while to go to do his Cleveland show, which was an awful show. I've seen some episodes and it's not good. And he leaves the show, and what happens is he comes back occasionally, but then he comes back permanently because his show got canceled, and now he's permanently back. So that's all you really need to know, I guess, about Cleveland. And then that's really all you need to know. And they have Adam West, who's the mayor, Tom Tucker, who's the news. You see a lot of him, and it's just really a funny show. It's like a comedy show, and they do a lot of stuff. They don't really they follow a storyline somewhat, but not completely. They've had episodes like they've done the Star Wars episode. They did the Breaking Bad episode recently. They did the episode when Cleveland came back. They've done episodes like they've just done a lot of good episodes. I haven't seen a lot of the show really because sometimes I watch it, sometimes I won't. Not that I don't lose interest in it, but it's not. Um, I'm watching the new season though, so that's good. But that's really Family Guy. That's like my third favorite show. What I like about it. It's makes me laugh a lot. I like some of the characters in it, like Peter, Brian, Stewie. I don't mind Lewis. I don't really like Meg and Chris are just kind of there for me. I like Chris a little bit better. I like Joe. I like Quagmire. So I like the characters. They're good, and I just like they have a lot of funny stuff on it that is laughable. You guys should pretty much know what the show is. So now we get on to number two. My second favorite show right now is a show called Impractical Jokers, and this show is about four friends. This is the Q, Joe, Sal, and Mo. Those are like their names. They have like they have real names, but that's the names we know them as. And pretty much what this is this about four. It kind of explains it. Four lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. This is like a competition, but it's not like you don't really get anything out of it. You really want to keep yourself from losing. So they do a lot of embarrassing competitions. One of them is do and say and do what you're told. Um, so sometimes you'll be working as like a waiter, um, or a drive-through person, the drive-through guy, or you'll be working in a supermarket, whatever, bodyguard, whatever. And what happens is you'll have to say and do what the other people tell you, um, and it's kind of they tell you to do some sick stuff or to say some sick stuff, and you have to say it because you lose if you don't say it, and you don't want to be like on the losing end because it gets bad if you lose. So you have to say it, and sometimes they make you say some pretty strange stuff. Um, and if you don't, and I don't really need to explain it, like it's like sick stuff. But there's other competitions too. Like sometimes you go for like an ad competition, and you have to do like an ad, and the PowerPoint is done by the other guys, and they put everything you want. You have to say what's on there. There's this stuff where you have to ask questions, and the guys write the questions for you, and you have to ask them to the people. One of them is sometimes you have one of them recently they had to that I've recently seen is you had to ask the person for your cell phone, and you had to name why you needed to do it, and they had and the guys came up with it on cue cards, and you had to say why you needed it. So you had to and you had to name where your phone was and who you're calling. It was pretty funny stuff right there. Um, and what else competitions have they done? Sometimes you have to get them to sign petitions to do like a club or something, and the club's like the most idiotic club ever. Um, Sometimes, trying to think what else. Well, like that you guys would find funny. Sometimes, you have one of them. You had when people were wall climbing, and you had to try to get them to say the word before they passed like a certain finish line, and the word was like so weird, like I'm going to die or something. Words that weren't even words. Um, and it was just awesome stuff. Now they have a points system. Well, the point system is just a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You don't want to get the thumbs down, because if you lose, you get punished. And I'm not mean like you go to jail. Like you have to do something embarrassing to yourself, and it's just awesome. One Sal is afraid of cats, and he had to give a lesson about cats, and he's afraid of cats. Another one, Q had to wrestle a match against Tommy Dreamer, and he had to make him, and they had a speech for him. They had to make him look like an idiot. I know we don't talk about wrestling on this channel because this is a non-wrestling channel, but I had to say that. I think Joe had to do the magic trick, and he didn't know how to get out of it. It was like the part where you go into the water, all chained up, and you have to figure out a way out of it, and you can't do it. Q had to do a talent show, and he had to he had to they yeah, it was awesome. The fashion show was like a bunch of weird stuff on it. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Murr had to eat food and and do like a taste test, but the problem was is when they gave him he couldn't really talk or taste the food because they numbed up his stuff with like the stuff that dentist does, and it was like really awful. Those won, well, all of them lost, and they gave each other awful hairstyles. One of them, there was one when the newest one is when three of them lost, and they had to do and they had to and Q gave them tattoos. It was no, was it Joe or Q? I forget, but it was one of them. It was awesome. Um, it's a really good show. It's a really funny show. This is like another comedy show. I really like this show, and it's an awesome show. Check this show out if you haven't seen it. It's on True TV, whatever channel it is in your part of the country, I guess. And then my number one favorite show is SpongeBob SquarePants. You're gonna say like, why is SpongeBob? People always ask me, why do you like SpongeBob so much? Why is it better than this show? Well, I'm gonna tell you. SpongeBob's been a part of my childhood. That was like one of the first TV shows I ever watched, and I've had this everything. I had the SpongeBob sheets, SpongeBob blankets, SpongeBob action figures, SpongeBob. Hold on. Just everything SpongeBob was I had, and the show is about a sponge who wears square pants. I've talked about this show before. He lives in a pineapple, has a job at the Krusty Krab, and his best friend's a starfish named Patrick, and he's a dumbass. And Squidward is like their neighbors, and he hates being their neighbors because they're always obnoxious to him. And when SpongeBob works at the Krusty Krab too, and Squidward works there too, and it's owned by Mr. Krabs, and he's pretty much a cheapskate. He doesn't like losing money, but he loves getting money. And Sandy, like I guess no one likes losing money, but he won't. Mr. Krabs can't even stand losing a penny. And Sandy, is is a squirrel that lives in a tree dome. She's an underwater. She has to wear a helmet and all that stuff. And SpongeBob and Patrick go to visit her, and they have to wear water helmets. And Plankton owns the chum bucket, and it's pretty much a dump. No one can own and no one's ever gone there before. And he tries to steal the Krabby Patty formula so he can take over the world. Now, how can he take over the world with the Krabby Patty formula? I don't know. He's done it in the movie. I'm going to review that in the future. Mr. Krabs has a daughter that's a whale named Pearl. They have Larry the Lobster, who's like tough and likes to work out a lot. SpongeBob has a grandmother who we haven't met, who in my review series we haven't met yet, but I've watched them all, and obviously but she's still alive. We've seen SpongeBob's parents, and that's all good. So that's what I like about SpongeBob. It was part of my childhood, and I just really like the show. The newer ones aren't as good, but the older ones are really good. I like those. And those are my top 5 favorite shows. So I'm going to repeat them. 5's Breaking Bad, which you can check out on, I guess now Netflix, because it's not even on TV. 4's The Walking Dead, and I'm not really caught up to speed on those 2 shows. I'm only on now I'm going to season 3. But I just finished season 2 this week, so I'll be back to do review. I'm going to be doing review of those more. Hold on. And then, but you can check that show on AMC. 3, Family Guy. You can check it out on Cartoon Network at nighttime and Fox TV. And then 2, is Impractical Jokers, and you can check that out on True TV. And 1, SpongeBob, you can check that out on Nickelodeon. And those are my favorite shows. So if you have any favorite shows you want to share with me, comment down below, and we'll see what happens. But that's my 100th video. Really enjoy making videos for this channel, and that's pretty much it, guys. Peace out.